Module 1, Chapter 4, Dangerous Drugs. Lessons. So this is the lessons of Chapter 4. Examination of dangerous drugs. Examination of the sample taken from the alleged dangerous drugs. Two phases in the examination of the alleged dangerous drugs. Examination of urine sample. Validity test for urine sample. Reasons for conducting validity tests. Instances when to allow unobserved urine specimen collection. Different types of tampered urine sample. Ways to adulterate urine samples. Ways to substitute a urine sample and ways to dilute a urine specimen. Parameters for validity tests. Other methods for confirmatory validity tests. Criteria and determining tampered urine specimen. First is drug. Is a chemical substance that brings about physiological behavior and or psychological change in a person taking it. A medicine or other substance which has a physiological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body by Oxford Dictionary. Medicinal drugs, a substance which when taking, taken it into a human body cures illness and or relieves signs and or symptoms of disease. Dangerous drugs, a substance affecting the central nervous system which when taken into the human body brings about physical, emotional, or behavior changes in a person taking it. Include those listed in the schedules annexed to the 1961 Single Convention of Narcotic Drugs as amended by the 1972 Protocol and in the schedule annexed to the 1971 Single Convention on Psychotropic Substances as enumerated in the attached annex, which an integral part of this act. This is most dangerous drugs in the world. So first is nicotine or tobacco. Nicotine is an extremely lethal substance according to the Centers for Disease Control and the most dangerous drug. It is responsible for costing the United States billions of dollars yearly and over 48,000 deaths in recent years. Despite these findings, smoking cigarettes is the leading preventable cause of death. Second is alcohol. Alcohol is a commonly abused substance sought out for its ability to lower inhibition. Alcohol is a depressant and can after moods when individuals are under the influence and craving alcohol. Next, side effects of alcohol use can range from slurred speech to blacking out and more severe symptoms like liver disease and comas. Next is fentanyl. The CDC reported the troubling statistics of the extremely addictive opioid fentanyl, which is both a synthetic and prescription opioid. This drug is a powerful pain reliever with 50 to 100 times the potency of morphine and 50 times the potency of heroin. A reported 18,335 fentanyl-related deaths occurred in 2016, equaling 28.8% of deaths due to drug abuse. Fentanyl is a powerful opioid once used in hospitals as a prescribed medication. The chemical has been used to treat moderate to severe pain and has been used as an anesthetic in the 1930s. Next is heroin. Is another highly addictive synthetic opioid popular for its fast-acting properties. The morphine derivative originates from poppy seeds like other opioids. Heroin is commonly available in white powder form, but other types of heroin, black or black tar heroin, are brown in color. Street names for heroin include Big H, Black Tar, Helldust, Smack, and Thunder. Cocaine. Cocaine is a stimulant that has gained popularity in the US since the 1970s. The white powder substance is still popular today, killing 5,070 individuals in 2013, individuals in 2011, 5,319 individuals in 2013, in 2015, 7,324, and 11,316 individuals in 2016. Cause of death is cocaine. Next is methadone. Methadone. Methadone is a scheduled synthetic narcotic. It was first used during World War II to treat pain because of morphine shortage. Presently, the medication is used to treat opioid-related addiction such, such as heroin. Next is oxycodone. Oxycodone has gained notoriety recently. Oxycodone is the active ingredient in both Oxycon- OxyContin and Percocet, and OxyContin remains one of the most commonly abused prescription medications. Oxycodone contributed to the deaths of 5,587 as one of the leading causes of drug-related deaths in 2011. By 2016, the amount of deaths from oxycodone increased to 6,199, following behind fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine deaths. Next is morphine. Morphine is a scheduled synthetic narcotic derived from the opium plant. It is a narcotic that has a high risk of abuse and has been used in hospitals to aid in pain relief. Morphine can be snorted, injected, or smoked. Next is methamphetamines or meth. Methamphetamine or meth, classified as a stimulant, has fluctuated in popularity. It has a distinct crystal-shaped form and an extremely high rate of addiction. Meat, meat abuse causes noticeable physical characteristics that can be permanent. Some of these include rapid weight loss, elated moods, and extreme dental decay. Next is Xanax or alprazolam. Closing out the list of the 10 most dangerous drugs is Xanax or alprazolam, a benzodiazepine that helps treat anxiety. Anxiety can contribute to an inability to be relaxed and, in some cases, sub- substance use disorders. Next, then, drug abuse. Any non-medical use of drugs that cause physical, psychological, legal, economic, or social damage to the user of the people affected by the user's behavior. Abuse usually refers to illegal drug, but maybe also be applicable to drugs that are available legally, such as prescribed medication and certain over-the-counter medication. Classification of drugs. Natural drugs are active ingredients, secondary metabolic products or of plants and other living systems that may be isolated by extraction. Example for that is raw opium, marijuana, coca bush. Next is synthetic drugs are artificially produced substances synthesized in the laboratory for the illicit market, which are almost wholly manufactured from chemical compounds in illicit laboratories. Example for that is methamphetamine and barbiturates. Republic Act 9165, Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002, an act instituting the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, repealing Republic Act number 6425, otherwise known as the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1972, as amended, providing funds therefore and for other purposes. Otherwise known as the Comprehensive Drug Act of 2002, the term prohibited and regulated was changed into dangerous drugs with the classification 2. First is immediate precursors. A chemical substance used in the clandestine manufacturing process becomes incorporated in full or part into of the final molecules of a substance under international control. Next is essential chemicals. A chemical substance used as reagent or solvent in the illegal manufacture of controlled precursor, narcotic, psychotropic, and designer. Republic Act 6425 classification of prohibited includes opium and its active components and derivatives such as heroin and morphine, coca leaf and derivatives principally cocaine, alpha and beta, butane, hallu- hallucinogenic drugs such as mescaline, and other substances producing similar effects. Regulated, which includes self-inducing sedatives such as secobarbital, phenobarbital, pentobarbital, natural amorbarbital, and any other drug which contains a salt or derivative of a salt of barbituric acid. According to pharmacological classification, stimulants are drugs which increase alertness of physical disposition. Examples: amphetamine like eye opener, pep pills, and upper hearts. And shabu. Then hallucinogens are drugs which affect sensation, self-awareness, and emotion. Example is ecstasy, LSD or lysergic diethylamide or marijuana. Depressants are drugs which depress or lower the functions of the central nervous system. Types of depressants are narcotics, a drug which induces sleep, hypnotics or stupor and relieve pain. Next is tranquilizer, a substance that reduces anxiety, ease tension, and relax muscle. Last is sedative and hypnotics, calm the nerves, reduce tension, and induce sleep. Example for that example for that is barbiturates and alcohol. Inhalants. These are any liquid, solid, or mixed substance that has the property of releasing toxic vapors or fumes. Example for that is solvent, glue, naphthalene, paint, gasoline, kerosene, and thinner. Principles of forensic drug chemistry. Forensic drug chemistry is simply chemistry as it is applied to the identification of illegal substances within the criminal justice system. Like all other chemistry discipline, it examines the way the atoms and molecules in matter interact and bond with each other. In forensic drug chemistry, analysts use scientific findings to help investigators pursue legal action against individuals suspected of a drug-related crime. The goal of a forensic drug chemistry is to determine whether the material submitted contains an illegal substance. Based on the result of the analysis, law enforcement can pursue criminal charges and the court can determine appropriate sentencing. Forensic drug chemists analyze samples of unknown materials including powders, liquids, and stains to determine the chemical identity or characteristics of the compounds that make up the sample. Samples submitted as evidence in a drug-related case can contain one, co- one compound of a mixture of many compounds. For example, cocaine powder is often cut with other substances such as caffeine or lidocaine. There are two main types of tests used to determine whether an illegal drug is present in a substance. First is presumptive tests, are less precise and indicate that an illegal substance may be conducted in that field by law enforcement officers or in the laboratory once the seized material is accepted. Confirmatory tests provide a positive identification of the substance in question, involve a battery of instrumental tests using techniques such as gas chromatograph, mass spectrometry, or infrared spectroscopy that separate individual compounds in the substance and positively identify the chemical signature of the illegal substances within the material. Uses instrumental analysis to positively identify the contents of submitted materials. Evidence that may be collected. Evidence collected during an investigation involve illegal drugs can include the substance itself, containers used to transport the substance, utensils used to manufacture or use the substance, or in the case of manufacturing the component, chemicals used to create the illegal substance. How the evidence is collected. Drug evidence collected using the same evidence collection methods used for the types of crimes. Evidence is collected, photographed, packaged, documented, and sent for analysis using the guidelines and process in place at responding agency. Forensic drug analysis. Forensic drug analysis deals with the identification and quantification of illegal drugs. Using drug tests are generally carried out in two steps: screening and confirmation. Once drugs are detected through screening, samples are then collected and sent to laboratories for confirmation tests. Validity tests for urine sample. Specimen validity testing, or SVT, is performed on a urine drug screen specimen to detect substitution, adulteration, or dilution. See the drugs of abuse. First is substitution. Submission of a specimen that is not characteristic of human urine. Typically, this may be water or water with salt in it, and it is identified by extreme creatinine and specific gravity results. Second is adulteration. Adding a substance to a specimen after it has been collected. The product added is designed to mask the presence of or chemically destroy the drug or drug metabolite that the specimen may contain. Next is dilution. Result of ingestion of large amounts of water, typically just before urine donation or as a result of physiological conditions. If drug metabolites are diluted to a concentration below the initial test cutoff, and dilute urine may result in a false negative. Specimen validity testing is an important part of every urine drug test. It provides clinicians with the critical information about the accuracy and reliability of drug test results, and that the specimen submitted is a valid human urine specimen. Validity test for urine sample. The validity of urine drug screen results is dependent on the specimen integrity. While direct observation collections provide specimens of the greatest credibility, non-witness collections can be affected, and safeguards are in place to ensure the donor does not have access to substance which may affect test results. Suggested procedure prior to collection. First is check the identity of donor. Ask the donor to remove any unnecessary outer clothing. Do not ask the donor to empty his or her pockets or to remove articles of clothing such as shirts, pants, dresses, etc. Have donor wash hands prior to collection. Ask the donor to wash his or her hands to eliminate any possible adulterating or contaminating substances from under the donor's fingernails. Urine sample. Of all the matrices, urine is the most commonly used for adolescent drug testing, and it's the most thoroughly studied. However, to prevent tampering, compounding, this many pediatricians are unfamiliar with proper collection procedures and limitation of urine drug screening. Next is different types of tampered urine sample. Physico Physicochemical characteristics. Changes in the appearance and odor are usually the first indication of sample manipulation. Dilution of urine by drinking, like drinking excessive water, may be produce a clear, almost water-like appearance. In contrast, urine detoxifiers may be produce unnaturally colored urine. However, some dex- detoxifier contain niacin that imparts a natural yellow and color, and it's not flagged as adulterant. Common tampering techniques. First is household products. To change the pH of their urine and prevent drug detection, a participant might add a household cleaning product to the specimen. Popular choice include acid ammonia, vinegar, and bleach. These products may interfere with the initial screening test. Substitution. A participant might substitute a urine specimen with lemonade, soft drinks, sports drinks, water, or someone else's urine. Another popular choice for substitution in powdered urine, which donors mix with water. Dilution. To dilute their urine specimen, hoping to mask or destroy evidence for drugs use, participants may consume large quantities of lemonade, soft drinks, sports drinks, or water. Sometimes this happens unintentionally. Chemical additives. Some participants add chemicals to the specimen after collection. Donors can purchase all of these products online. Prescription drugs. Some prescription drugs that are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory will interfere with the initial screening test. For example, Tolectin can impact a participant's test results. Ways to adulterate urine samples. First is water. Diluting a sample is one of the most common adulteration attempts. This can be done by adding water to the specimen, in vitro dilution, or through ingesting mass amounts of water before donating a specimen. Second is swap urine. The easiest way to detect that whether a donor has substituted someone else's urine for the samples is to measure the specimen's temperature. Next is synthetic urine. Like raw urine, measuring the specimen's temperature is the most common way to detect synthetic urine. Synthetic urine also has a strong, unfamiliar odor, which an experienced and specimen collector would recognize. Next is creatinine. Creatinine occurs naturally in urine, and it's used to detect whether the urine specimen has been diluted by screening for low levels of creatinine in a urine sample. It is possible to determine whether the donor has attempted to dilute the specimen by drinking lots of water. Next is bleach. Whether whether it is powdered laundry detergent or a few drops of Jovex, bleach and other oxidants added to the specimen can interfere with a drug test and could render the sample unusable. unusable. An oxidant adulterant screen detects the type of manipulation. Next is heating pads. Heating pads are used to bring the temperature of swap or synthetic urine up to a person's body temperature. If a specimen temperature falls outside the normal temperature range, it could very well indicate the use of heating pads. Next is masking agents. Masking agents such as nitritis and glutaraldehyde can hide the presence of drugs in urine sample by interfering with the immune immunoassay test strips or by altering drug metabolites. Next is flushes. Flushes agents attempt to remove or mask the presence of drugs and drug metabolites that will be detected during a drug test. Typically, flushes do not remove the presence of drugs from a donor's body. Next is pyridinium chlorochromate or PCC, the active ingredient in one over-the-counter adulteration system, is a chemical that is effective at masking marijuana and opiate usage in both a point-of-care testing device and GC or MS confirmation test. Ways to dilute a urine specimen. Diluted urine occurs when there's too much water in the urine. It means the urine concentration is weak. As a result, the tester will be unable to properly detect the presence of drugs in the urine. What can cause urine to be diluted? Urine can become diluted due to many reasons. It's not always because someone is trying to cheat the test by drinking lots of water. It can happen accidentally. Possibly causes of diluted urine including the following: drinking fluids for health reasons. Many people recognize the importance of staying hydrated, so it's common for individuals to frequently drink a lot of water. Next is preparing to give a urine sample. If a if a person unable to provide enough urine, they might have to return or repeat the test. Some people might drink lots of fluid beforehand to ensure that they can give a urine sample. Taking the diuretics. Some prescription medications have a diuretic effect. They increase urine production, resulting in diluted urine. Drinks like coffee and tea are also diuretics. Next is kidney problems. The kidney remove waste from the body by making urine. If the kidney aren't working properly, they might release too much water in the urine. Next is parameters for validity tests. Urinalysis is well established for drug screening. Various methods of urine adulteration such as dilution, addition of oxidative or reductive chemicals of detergents, and handling over urine-like fluids are used to circumvent a positive screen. Validity parameters such as determination of pH, gravidity, urine temperature, or testing for oxidative or reductive chemicals are therefore used to uncover adulterated urine specimens. Therefore, the aims of the study were to evaluate additional validity parameters to evaluate the prevalence of urine adulteration, to identify adulteration markers in purchased fake urine samples. What does confirmatory validity test mean? A confirmatory validity test is used to affirm the findings of a specimen validity test. A specimen validity test, or SVT, is used to determine if a proffered urine specimen has been adulterated or otherwise tampered with prior to submission. If an initial validity test indicates that the specimen is suspect, the confirmatory validity test is performed using a second sample from the same specimen. This may also be referred to as a specimen confirmation test, specimen confirmatory testing, or a specimen validity test. Workplace testing explains confirmatory validity test. A confirmatory validity test is a follow-up test conducted subsequent to a specimen validity test. Laboratories engaged in the evaluation of urine samples for Department of Transportation drug testing must conduct a validity test on, on every specimen. A validity test is used to determine if the specimen submitted is characteristic of normal human urine. The validity test will evaluate whether a specimen has been substituted, adulterated, or diluted. If the specimen validity test indicates that the specimen is invalid, then a second option of aliquot is taken from the same specimen and used for the confirmatory validity test to verify the result. That's all.